Leap Forward's first interviewee for the speaker series is Monica Delgado, owner of Morazan Grocery II, a Latin grocery store and carryout in Old Town Gaithersburg, Maryland. Mrs. Delgado was one of the original speakers to present to the Leap Forward Club, and it was a pleasure to hear her speak again. This is her story.
My name is Monica Delgado. I'm the owner of Morazan Grocery II in Gaithersburg, Maryland. This store opened in 1998 when I was actually 8 years old. My parents started in the grocery store business in 1991 with opening their first store in Washington, D.C. on 14th Street. And the reason why they opened that store was because they were just looking for a new business opportunity, and they decided, why not, we should just try out a grocery store and see if it works out. And about now 27 years later, the businesses are still going strong. We have included carryouts in both of our businesses, and I have taken over the business here in Gaithersburg. That entrepreneurship was the way to go. So I took over the grocery store because it was my summer job growing up. I was here every day when I was little, and I would one time even got left here at work because my parents left early and they closed the store and they forgot that I was here. And I came upstairs and no one was here. But it's just been my life, and it's paid for so much, and I feel like in return I also need to give my part in continuing the legacy that is the grocery stores. My main goal ever since I was a little girl, as being a first-generation Latina to parents who are immigrants from El Salvador, was education. Education was the most important thing in my entire life. No matter what I did, I needed to be educated. So my life goal was to graduate from college. And I needed that experience because I needed to broaden my horizon, especially if I was going to say, I could have easily been like, oh, my parents didn't have education. My dad went to school till 6th grade, and my mom went up to high school. And so they didn't have much education coming from a third world country. And so I said, if I really want to broaden my horizons and not be a business owner and follow in their footsteps, that I needed to go to college and experience different jobs and experience just different things so that I know exactly what it is that I want to do, which led me into working with different nonprofits, and which led me into teaching and wanting to teach. My basic outcome of going to college was, how can I better myself to help others? And I thought I couldn't do that in a business world. But then as I grew older and I gained more experiences working for nonprofits and becoming a teacher, with those experiences I learned what it's like to manage people, what it is like to work with a team, and things like that. Those experiences led me to be able to run my own business and have employees of my own and continue to have a successful business. So I had to go to college, even though my major has nothing to do with what I'm doing now. I had to have that experience. I had to go to college. I had to learn different things, and because without that experience I wouldn't be where I am today or have the knowledge that I have to be able to run a business. You have some of your pros where you are your own boss, which is really wonderful. You don't really have to have a set schedule. It's very flexible, but the con to that is that you have to be available 24/7. So if the fire alarm goes off in the middle of the night, you're the responsible for that. If an employee gets hurt and they no longer can work and you have to send them home, then you're responsible for that. I have a very small business where I only have about 7 employees. So if I have one person out, then the person that needs to come in for them is me. So that can either refer to either cooking or being at the register or preparing food or whatever it might be. But I need to fill in those shoes. Whereas in other places, if you're working in an office, you can easily call a sick day and be out, and someone can replace you. But that's not the case here. Another pro also is that the responsibility that you have. Whether some people might see responsibility as a con, but it is a nice responsibility because you are having different responsibilities economically. You're giving back to the community. Culturally, I'm also giving back to the community. We're surrounded by a very heavy Salvadorian, Central American community here in Gaithersburg, and to them, this is a little piece of home because of the products that we have, from either being canned goods to all the way to fruit, all the way to the carry-out that we serve Salvadorian food. For many people, they're far away from home and they appreciate that home-cooked food. The con is the constant changing and evolving of the economy. So there's a lot of different cultures coming in, so you kind of have to assert yourself and think, oh, okay, now I have to accommodate for these cultures as well. And so then you need to kind of be on your toes and kind of work your critical thinking and see, well, what can I do to better the store? Another pro is, especially for me, is that my parents were very old school. And I grew up in the generation basically where cell phones started coming to play, social media, internet became a big thing. So I know how to work all those things, and I can advertise more than what my parents could before. Something I remember in school that has stuck with me today, that has really helped me with my business, and it's so minimal, and I really thought really hard about this and what it could possibly be, is that planner that they give you at the beginning of the year. It's so small, and it's something that you just neglect so much when you're younger, and your teacher's like, are you sure you wrote down your homework? This is due on Tuesday, or whatever. But it's so helpful now because running a business, there's so many little aspects and so many little details that you miss out on, that if you wrote them down in your planner, if you wrote down, oh, this is the time that I need to be here, this is the date that this is due, this is the time that I need to be over here, or this person's going to be out this day. It is so functional. It is the most simplest thing, but it's absolutely functional because organization is totally key to running a business. Because if you are disorganized, it can really bring down everything. It can bring down the day-to-day, and it can bring down what you need to do in the future also. So having that little planner is actually really, really essential. Critical thinking. 1, critical thinking, and 2, readying them for the future. So what I mean by that is, you're in algebra class and you're asking yourself, when am I ever going to use this? And I know I grew up hearing that question all the time, like, when am I ever going to use this? Whatever subject it might be, a teacher should always have an answer for that, because we don't want them to just think, okay, I need to go through this many years of school, and once I get here, that's it, and then that's when my future starts. But your future is, going from 4th grade to 5th grade, 5th grade to 6th grade, 6th grade to 7th grade. And so every teacher should have an answer for saying, well, when am I ever going to use this? So a teacher should start really thinking about how they can answer those questions, even if it's a math teacher, if it's a science teacher, a social studies teacher, or even a world language teacher. And then with critical thinking, especially in a small business or any kind of entrepreneurship that you decide to go on, you need to be ready and on your toes. There's so much decision making, and it needs to be, and it can come at an orderly fashion, and it can also appear at a whatever time. So schools can better that in different activities that they do, especially with teamwork activities, which is huge also, because learning, when you come into the real world, if we'd like to call it that, you know, you start working with other people, and you start seeing how other people's characteristics are and how they can combine with yours and how you can make that work together.